Yes, guys, welcome back to SFeatleyTV. We're here for another fan cam, and we're here for the fan cam for the Arsenal game where it finished Arsenal 3, Southampton 0, match day 16. And it was only a bump in the road. Where the process is back on, and the youth project is banging. So we should all be happy, apparently. But we got long-time friend of the channel and personal friend of mine, Mel, back on the channel. How are you, Miss Melina? How are you doing?
Hi, Stephen. Great to see you again and great to be on your channel again. Really proud of you. Your shows so far have been great. I'm glad to tune in the chat whenever I can. And great work you've been doing on Matt's channel for Gunners Across All Corners. I've seen you on there frequently, so great to take part and get involved in there as well.
Yeah, and obviously Marley having to take time off. I'm always willing to help out friends that have been such good friends to us with the channel. And to be honest, without the channel wouldn't be where it is now with such support, such as yourself and such as Matt, Marley, Talk, and the rest. Like so many people that have helped out. So I'm always going to help out anyone that wants my help. So, but yeah, into the lineup. I'll start with the lineup there, shall we? How did you see the lineup? And plus, also, just give us your thoughts generally, also about how things are going with Arsenal. How do you see things right now?
In terms of the lineup today, I wasn't personally impressed. To be honest, I wanted to see Martinelli up front as a striker. Now I will touch upon the Aubameyang disciplinary action later on in this video if we have time to. But I would have played Martinelli up front as a striker, and I would have played Saka and Smith Rowe on the wings. I feel like we would have been more prominent in that sense, but it was a game to see Lacazette step up, especially after a horrible performance against Everton at Goodison Park. He really stepped up today, and he was more of the captain and leader on the pitch today, constantly yelling at the players to get involved and not sit back and invite pressure onto us, especially in that second half of the performance today. We really stepped up the tempo of the game, and controlled most of the second half, which came from the domination on the pitch from a leader like Lacazette. After getting that first goal early on into the game, I think he really got involved in the game. He was constantly, dropping deep, being more of a goal threat on the pitch today, which was nice to see. But overall, what I've seen of Arsenal so far is, to put it short, we take one step forward, two steps backwards. We're very inconsistent. With a team that has the youngest players in the Premier League in our starting 11, you expect them to make mistakes, but you also expect them to learn off of it. One thing I will say is a lot of our senior players have not stepped up. Today in the second half, Granit Xhaka and Partey improved, but we need to see a lot better, especially in terms of Thomas Partey. It's not his first season with Arsenal, and it just seems like he's struggling to get his shooting boots on. He's been really poor. Today he stepped up. Great to see in the second half. The same from Granit Xhaka. He stepped up immensely in the second half. But it feels like we're too inconsistent. Arteta lacks man management skills, especially making poor substitutions against Everton, and the game before that. It just seems like he doesn't have the right choices of substitutions and doesn't make them on time. Another thing I will say is I really hope our senior players would turn up rather than our Hale End boys, Saka and Smith Rowe, carrying the team as a cohesive unit week in and week out.
I wanted to just quickly mention about Saka and then also Pepe, because the substitutions you just mentioned. Like, how do you feel with Saka, for instance? Because I've said he has not had a rest properly since the first lockdown in 2020 when football restarted, if you look back throughout the record. And the fact that he brought him on to Man United when he was injured already, and yet you had Pepe fresh on the bench, who could have been more effective. So, I mean, what do you make of how he's treating Pepe, and also how he's treating Saka, especially with Smith Rowe
with Pepe, Pepe, the thing is, it feels like the 72 million signing that we paid for, it really does feel like we paid a high premium for him, and we have yet to see what he has to offer. Sometimes, not to take this the wrong way or to take offense, it really feels like his biggest competition and his biggest threat is his two left feet. Sometimes he's really raw off the ball, poor at decision making, and struggles to even do the simple basics of football, like struggles to keep the ball between his feet and to make direct passes. He did come off the bench today, but he didn't get enough game time to really make an impact or grow into the game. And I think bringing Rob Holding on was a good substitution to add, because Gabriel was already on a yellow card. And, you know, if he had got a second yellow, it would have been a more serious booking. And we can't afford to lose a player like Gabriel. He has a lot of fight in him and brings a lot of intensity into a game whenever he is playing for us.
Not really got West Ham as well coming up as well, which is going to be a
and we have West Ham next weekend.
Yeah, because the West Ham, I mean, like, obviously they're on an amazing run with European football as well. So, like, that's going to be a tough game in itself. So some people I mentioned today about Martinelli and Saka with the way they were distributing the ball into the box and saying that, like, they're not being able to pick out someone more often. I kind of agree with them on that. But if it's I've also seen Pepe do it, and a number of wingers that we have do it time and time again. So partly means it's not down to the stem. I feel it's down to Arteta not being able to coach them correctly, and everything just feels, you know, like when you get a youngest, you know, when you play in the FA Cup, a smaller team, and the smaller team is always on edge trying to play the right way, and trying to create something. That's how we're like at the minute. It's just, it's not flowing. It just feels like on edge, and we can make a mistake at any little point.
Yeah, and with the Premier League especially, you know, the intensity that is in the Premier League, considering we don't have European football, it just seems like it's not good enough. We're far too inconsistent, and, you know, playing out from the back style of football.
Look at the
a lot of
first
people
20
say
minutes.
we don't have an identity, we don't have a style of play. The style of play we have is whenever we go a goal up, we tend to respect the opponent way too much, and we tend to sit back and invite pressure onto us, allowing the opponent to easily get back into the game and grow into the rest of the game and dominate us. Take the Goodison Park on Monday night. So Monday night, they had 2 goals disallowed from, I think it was Richarlison. Yeah, 2 goals disallowed, and still ended up beating us and taking the 3 points at their own yard.
You could look at Crystal Palace at home even.
Yeah, well. Crystal Palace at home, Leicester away. The second half performance, Ramsdale kept us in the game. And because we finished that game off early on in the first half, that's why we didn't get outplayed. But, you know, we allow teams to build intensity and to get back into the game. What I want to see from us, especially up against a team like West Ham who have European football, is from minute 1 to minute 90, I want to see us press. I want to see us get more control of the ball, up the tempo and intensity of the game, and have urgency in the final third. It's one thing to create chances, but it's another thing to actually have urgency and to be able to finish them off. And to have a passage of play that allows you to play with more freedom than be restricted, and try to always get teams on the counter attack. I think, you know, that we don't play attacking football. We haven't played attacking football under Arteta, and I don't see us playing attacking football anytime soon. The style of football we play is extremely boring to watch. The first 20 minutes of the game today was an absolute snooze fest and embarrassing. We were getting outplayed by James Ward-Prowse and the Southampton press. We couldn't handle their press, and we couldn't even keep up with them. We were making really sloppy passes, not even direct, and not even trying to get into their half. We weren't even trying to be a goal threat at that point. The game really started only after 20 minutes onwards, when Lacazette got the first goal, leading us on the score sheet tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned about the first 20 minutes. For me, it was kind of worrying because, like, they were pressed. They knew already press high, and you'll cause mistakes out of Arsenal. Like, a bit like what Liverpool were doing. How can you play? I mean, like, how can you play out the back against Liverpool when not even Pep can do it? Like, so, and that's why when you saw like Ramsdale launch a ball up to Martinelli, immediately put this like in behind them, and it's like, well, why don't you do that against Man United? Why don't you do that against Anfield? It's because Arteta doesn't tell them for specific games. It's all right playing. I want to play out for the back. That's fine. Right, but in specific games, managers,
you have to change your style of play.
Yeah, managers make tweaks to change their style of play, especially when they've got a squad that's not top quality. Yes. I mean, that's the Villa only lost 1-0 to Liverpool today.
Yes.
Brighton went and got something out of Liverpool. So why is it we go there? Because we're so hell bent on playing the same way, we get battered.
I think
So
today was a much needed result. The 3 points and the clean sheet to bring our confidence back. Much needed, especially against considering we have West Ham next. But one thing I will say, and let's be honest, we are a shadow of our past. But more importantly, we're definitely not where we want to be. And considering we only play one game a week, it's just not good enough. I expected this result from Southampton, especially considering how far they are. They're not even with their key players. Most of their key players are off with COVID or injuries. The first half of the game today was extremely poor. Second half, we improved, had more control and tempo on the ball. Lacazette was the game changer today and really showed Arteta why he deserves a run of games and why he shouldn't be dropped. He's more of a leader than Aubameyang has been all season. Aubameyang, again, not showing up for training yesterday and being dropped today for disciplinary reasons. You saw last season for the North London Derby at home, he didn't turn up and he was dropped. One thing I will say is this kind of comes down to Arteta as well. I know it's Aubameyang's fault, but Arteta, if you're going to go public with that kind of decision, then go public all the way and strip him of captaincy.
yeah,
I don't think he's club captain level. I don't think he's the type of player to let the teammates and manager have a lead. I think he's more of a letdown, and I don't know the specifics of it, but whatever the situation is, whether it was him actually being at that tattoo parlor, as we saw on Instagram, but I think he should be stripped of captaincy, and I think someone who's more deserving of it, someone who actually puts 110% on and off the pitch, is worthy of captaincy and deserves it.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you're a manager who has balls or the cojones to do that, you would strip him of captaincy. But Arteta is more of a media man and more of a yes man to what the board and the Cronkies are, treating our club as a franchise. That we haven't won the Premier League in 17 years, and for me, it just shows that we're really not good enough. Beating a team like Saints, 3 points, much needed, but this was expected. This was a minimum expectations from us. And, even that first half today was extremely poor. The first 20 minutes, especially, it was really hard to watch us like that. Playing at home with fans and to be that poor was very concerning. And it's not the first time I've seen that. And it's not the last time I'm going to see that kind of crappy performance in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. I think with the Bamiyang thing, for me, I know already, like, pretty much, and I think pretty much from the first incident, and now we've had this incident. Like, he doesn't want to admit it, but he's Arteta out. Simple. He doesn't want the manager there. Like, that's the way he's acting. He's not interested. You can tell by the body language. I feel, for me, you don't lose your talent just like overnight, over a month before season starts. For me, like, if you put him in another system, if you put him with Klopp or Pep, where he creates so many chances per game, like either Potter really with the amount of game chances he creates, he would be more up to try and do best for the team and actually try and score goals because you get opportunities to score goals. Like we have about 3-4 shots on target every single game, or 3 shots on target against Everton. He's not going to get up for that. Like,
but even when he gets chances, even when chances are put to him on the plate, he doesn't take them.
Plus, Arteta's
promised
so many things. Plus, Arteta's promised so many things, like with Willian, that we're going to be progressing to winning the Champions League all 3 years. Even though it's stupid anyway, but we're going to be progressing as a football club, and we're still finishing 8th every season.
Yeah,
like it's just constant lies. So I don't really blame him. I don't really blame him at all.
But as a captain, you really need to play for the badge and turn up. So whether you're Arteta in or not, as a captain on that high of wages, you really need to play for your team, and you need to stop letting your teammates and manager down. And I think one thing I will say is I think the relationship between Arteta and Aubameyang is very weak. The disciplinary action taken last season, you took the same disciplinary action this season, and Aubameyang's tone did not change. To me, it really shows that he doesn't give a damn about Arteta or, the team when he's doing the same mistake that he made last season. Yes, the first time you can say, oh, it was a mistake or it was a wrongdoing. But if you're doing it the second time, you clearly know what you're doing. You clearly know what your intentions are, and you're not turning up to training. That's an onus of responsibility on you. But as a manager, if you're going to go public and state that, then you need to go public all the way and have the balls to remove him of captaincy, which you don't have the balls to do. So that's one thing I will say is I feel like Arteta lacks man management skills there. a manager like a Pep or Pep Guardiola or a Klopp. I'm not saying Arteta is anywhere near that kind of level of managerial skills. Would have done that in a heartbeat for sure, if that was their captain letting their team down.
Next game, West Ham. What do you give us your quick
to be
thoughts
honest,
on
I'm
that?
not really confident to face West Ham next. One thing I will say is West Ham don't necessarily have a good record against us at home, so we do have home advantage with the fans. And like I've said before, with the fans backing the players and backing the team together as a cohesive unit, hopefully we can come together and try to get a result. But our squad is nowhere near the level of West Ham. West Ham are 2 to 3 injuries away from breaking apart, but Jared Bowen is on really good form. Antonio hasn't really been firing recently, and Ben Rama as well recently has not been firing as much, but you never know when they could be back in form with their shooting boots. One thing I will say is West Ham like to play a pretty high line press, and if we sit back and invite pressure onto us, it's not going to be good, especially considering we're playing at home. We really need to capitalize and take advantage of our chances whenever we get them, and to be able to finish teams off, not respecting them so much as we did for the Man United game.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, where can I find you, Mel?
Well, thank you for having me on this fan cam. At the end of the day, we got the 3 points, much needed, but my focus is West Ham because that's a really important game. If you guys want to check me out, do check me out on Miss Melina on YouTube. And the other thing I will say is, if you're not already subscribed to Steven, do subscribe to SFeatleyTV. His channel is charity focused to the Children's Liver Disease Foundation, and any donations would help as well, considering it's the holidays and a lot of people are suffering with illness. So it might be worth to consider for someone else in need. But hope you all have a good, happy holidays as well to you and your family.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you. Like I said, make sure you go and subscribe to Miss Melina, doing great content on her channel every day or whenever she can upload. It's quality content every time. And yeah, like I said, like any donations more than welcome. There's still kids in that hospital still doing the same thing I'm doing, and sometimes they have to sleep through Christmas for it. So and they don't even know if that's going to be their last Christmas because they don't know. So if you can help them anyway, their small donation helps. Yeah, but please do like, share, subscribe, and